Imagine waking up one day, confronted with the unsettling reality that the person you hold dearest appears to be a complete stranger. Try to fathom the overwhelming confusion, the profound sense of betrayal, and the utter terror of such an experience. It seems like a plot line ripped from the pages of a science fiction novel or perhaps a psychological thriller. But for those living with a rare and peculiar psychological condition known as Capgras Delusion, this is an all too real and frightening part of their lives. Capgras Delusion is a strange and complex disorder where a person firmly believes that a familiar person, often a close family member or friend, has been replaced by an eerily identical impostor. This isn't a fleeting suspicion or a momentary doubt, but a deep-set conviction as real and unshakable to them as the ground beneath their feet. The condition is named after the French psychiatrist Jean-Marie Joseph Capgras, who first described it in the early 20th century. Capgras, along with his colleague Rabou Lachaud, detailed the case of a woman who believed her husband, among others, had been replaced by identical impostors. These doubles, she was convinced, were able to impersonate her loved ones down to the finest details. Since then, the Capgras delusion has intrigued and puzzled scientists, psychologists, and curious minds alike. It forces us to question our understanding of reality, of perception, and ultimately, of the mind itself. The Capgras delusion is a testament to the mind's incredible ability to create a reality of its own, distinct from the world that the rest of us perceive. Despite its relative obscurity, understanding the Capgras delusion is crucial, not just for the sake of scientific curiosity, but to empathize with and support those who live with it. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of our perception, and of the delicate balance that underpins our sense of reality. Our journey into the past begins in the early 20th century with Dr. Jean-Marie Joseph Capgras. Dr. Capgras was a French psychiatrist who, in the year 1923, stumbled upon a peculiar case that would later bear his name. His patient, a woman referred to as Madame M, was utterly convinced that her husband and other close relatives were impostors. Despite being identical in appearance, she was certain they were different individuals. This inexplicable belief, this unshakable delusion, was something Dr. Capgras had never witnessed before. This was the dawn of the Capgras delusion, a phenomenon that would intrigue and perplex the scientific community for decades to come. In the early stages, Dr. Capgras hypothesized that this delusion was a symptom of hysteria, a term widely used in psychiatry at the time. Hysteria was often attributed to women, and was believed to be a manifestation of repressed emotions or trauma. In Madame M's case, Dr. Capgras believed her delusion was a symptom of her repressed feelings towards her husband. She had, in her mind, replaced him with an impostor to cope with these emotions. This theory, while intriguing, was based on the limited understanding of mental health in the early 20th century, a time when neurology and psychology were still deeply intertwined. As the years went by, other cases of the Capgras delusion began to surface. It became clear that this was not limited to women, nor was it always tied to repressed emotions. The Capgras delusion was observed in men and women, young and old, and was found in connection with various other mental and neurological conditions. This forced the scientific community to rethink their understanding of this mysterious delusion. Fast forward to the late 20th century, where neuroscientists began to link Capgras delusion to physical anomalies in the brain. As technology advanced, so did our understanding of this perplexing condition. Neuroimaging technologies, such as MRI and PET scans, became indispensable tools in our quest to understand the human mind. These technologies allowed scientists to peek into the brain as never before, revealing a captivating dance of neurons firing and connections forming. It was during one such neuroimaging study that researchers stumbled upon a fascinating revelation: the role of the brain's facial recognition system in the Capgras delusion. The human brain has an intricate system dedicated to recognizing faces. It's a survival mechanism, honed over millennia, enabling us to identify friend from foe, family from stranger. The epicenter of this system resides in the right hemisphere of the brain, specifically in the fusiform gyrus. This brain region is responsible for our ability to recognize faces, and it's here that the seeds of Capgras delusion are sown. When there's damage to this area, particularly from a traumatic brain injury or a neurological condition like Alzheimer's, the facial recognition system can go haywire. Suddenly, familiar faces may seem foreign or even threatening. This is the crux of Capgras delusion, the brain's inability to connect the face it sees with the emotional familiarity it should evoke. Imagine seeing your spouse, your child, or your parent, and your brain telling you, "This person is an impostor." It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Yet, It's the reality for those living with Capgras Delusion. It's a stark reminder of how much we take our brain's hard work for granted, and how disorienting life can be when those neural processes get disrupted. As we delve deeper into the rabbit hole, we'll explore the psychological aspect of this condition, adding another layer to our understanding of this enigmatic delusion. Firstly, it's important to note that Capgras Delusion doesn't typically exist in isolation. It can often occur in conjunction with other psychological conditions, such as schizophrenia. This coexistence can intensify the feelings of alienation and fear that a person experiencing Capgras Delusion might feel. Now let's discuss some psychological theories behind this intriguing delusion. One such theory is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort that arises when a person holds two conflicting beliefs. Imagine meeting someone who looks exactly like your mother, sounds like your mother, but you're convinced she's an imposter. It's an uncomfortable mental state, isn't it? This discomfort can lead to strange rationalizations, such as the belief in an imposter, to reconcile this internal conflict. Another psychological aspect of Capgras Delusion is the lack of emotional response to familiar faces. This phenomenon has led researchers to suggest that Capgras Delusion might be rooted in a disconnection between the visual recognition system and the emotional response system in our brain. Normally, when we see a familiar face, our brain not only recognizes the face but also triggers an emotional response. It's like a warm internal hug that tells us, hey, you know this person. They're safe. They're familiar. However, in those with Capgras Delusion, this emotional response is absent. They can recognize the face, but the emotional familiarity is missing. This absence of an emotional response can be deeply unsettling. Our brains are wired to seek patterns and make connections. When the emotional connection is missing, the brain tries to make sense of it. And in the case of Capgras Delusion, the mind's attempt to rationalize this lack of emotional connection leads to the creation of an impostor. So the next time you look into the mirror, remember that your recognition of yourself is not just about seeing your face. It's also about feeling an emotional connection to the person staring back at you. But what would it be like living with this terrifying condition? You awaken each day to a world where the people you know, the faces you love, are replaced by imposters. They look the same, sound the same, but something inside you screams that they're not the real deal. This condition doesn't just impact the individual living with it, but it reverberates through their relationships as well. Imagine being a spouse, a parent, a child, and being perceived as a stranger by the person you hold dear. It's a challenging and often heart-wrenching experience where every interaction becomes a reassurance of identity and a reaffirmation of love. Treatment for Capgras Delusion is not straightforward. Medication can sometimes help, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Cognitive behavioral therapy, a form of talking therapy, can be used to challenge the beliefs and reduce the distress they cause. But for these treatments to work, they require time, patience, and most importantly, a supportive environment. Support is crucial when it comes to living with Capgras. Those affected need a network of understanding individuals who can provide emotional backing and help them navigate the complexities of their condition. This isn't just about medical professionals, but also family, friends, and community members who can empathize and offer a safe space for the person to express their feelings and fears. Living with Capgras Delusion is a journey, one that can be filled with uncertainty and frustration. But with the right support and treatment, it's a journey that can lead to understanding, acceptance, and a better quality of life. As we move forward, the quest to fully understand Capgras Delusion continues. Our understanding of the delusion has come a long way since its first documentation in the early 20th century. However, it remains a condition shrouded in mystery. But in the spirit of scientific exploration, researchers around the globe are committed to unveiling its secrets. One of the promising areas of research is the exploration of genetic factors. Could there be a genetic predisposition to developing Capgras Delusion? While no definitive answers have been found yet, studies are ongoing, and the hope is that this line of research may eventually provide us with a more complete picture of why some people develop this condition. At the same time, the development of new treatments is also a priority. The goal is not only to manage the symptoms of Capgras Delusion, but to improve the quality of life for those affected by it. From cognitive behavioral therapy to advanced pharmaceuticals, a range of treatment options are being explored. In a broader sense, the research into Capgras Delusion is not just about understanding this specific condition. It's about gaining insights into the human brain itself its intricate workings, its potential vulnerabilities, and its incredible resilience. Every new discovery, every breakthrough, brings us one step closer to a future where Capgras Delusion and other mental health conditions are better understood, better managed, and perhaps one day, even preventable.